everyone, welcome back to IMH Studios YouTube channel. My name is Nikki and I'm a hair extension specialist here at our studio. In today's video, I am going to discuss what are invisible wefted hair extensions. Now, with hair extensions, technology is constantly evolving. Sometimes it's really hard to keep up with what's what, and also too, the names of things tend to change or even sound the same, and that goes with invisible wefted hair extensions. Invisible wefted hair extensions is still a fairly new technology that's happening. It's where we lay a row of micro beads onto your hair and then sew a wefted track underneath and one on top. Also, as of recently, I'm gonna say that, depending on where you are in the world, it could have been as recent as yesterday you heard about this, or a year ago. But there's also another method where we don't use two tracks, but instead we go through the weft, pull some of your hair through the actual wefted track and put a bead. So there's really two types of invisible wefted hair extension methods at this very moment, and they're both called the same thing right now. That might change, but as long as you know the basis of the technologies, you should be able to determine which one you prefer. All right, I've got my mannequin set up here. Last video she was called Maria. This video, what should we call her? Baleen? I like Baleen. How about that? Okay, so Baleen, I've already parted out a section with invisible wefted hair extensions, and when working with a hair extension specialist, it's all about positioning, where you place it on your head, depending on your natural hair and what length and density you have going on. So all those things come into play when you go to a specialist. They understand how that works. So for the purpose of this video, I just kind of want to show you how we install invisible wefted hair extensions, and that's about it today. So I'm not going to go into positioning today. We'll do that in another video. Okay, so like I'd mentioned before, when installing invisible wefted, I'm going to show you I'm going to say old school method, but really it's not that old. It's just technology is constantly evolving. But essentially we're going to put a row of wefted hair underneath a beaded row and then a row on top. Now, let me back up a little bit because I understand some of you are like, what are wefted hair extensions? This is a wefted hair extension. It looks just like this, okay? It's basically, the hair extensions are sewn onto what we call this part a weft, all right? Now the first thing I'm gonna do is lay my row of beads. I'm at a very weird angle, so excuse me if my hands get in the way, but I'll do my best to show you exactly what I'm doing. So we want to lay a really nice anchoring row of beads. Now, how many beads we use on a row really just depends on your hair, your density. It's a lot of different factors that go into place. So what I'm doing today is really just an example. When you go or come to our studio or go to a studio to get your hair extensions put in, they may put less, they may put more. It's perfectly fine. Typically, if they know what they're doing, it'll be good for the health of your hair and also the wear for your hair extensions. Okay, so let's go in, and I'm going to use my tool here to lay a row of beads. And okay, so there you go. We have laid a row of beads. Again, this is not like an official way as far as like the distance of the beads and where they're placed. This is really just for the purpose for you to understand the technology of how invisible weft hair extensions work. So there you go. There's our row of beads, and these are going to be our anchor for our wefted hair. Okay, the next step is to do our first weft, and we're going to do it underneath the beads here, just like this. Okay. And I'm just going to clip these out of the way for a second. Next, I'm going to take my needle and thread. I use nylon thread just because it's very strong, and also too, it lays more seamlessly. And it's really soft on your natural hair. So watch me sew it in. Okay, so I've got the first row sewn in right here. It looks a little crazy because I'm using a lot of different colors, but I just want you to see where the thread goes and the beads and what the hair extensions lay. Again, keep in mind everything will be matching when you do this process for your own install. So now I'm ready to lay a weft right on top, just like that, and I'm going to sew it into the bead as well. So I'm going to just anchor this down with some clips. Okay, so I'm all done. Now you can see, let me shift this down a little bit. You can see where I've sewn on top. Again, keep in mind, everything is going to match the thread and everything else. And if you flip it up, you don't see any beads. The beads that we put in there, they're kind of hidden in there. They're invisible, really. I don't know if you can see. There's one bead kind of in there, just like that. So they're sandwiched in between there. So the question I get a lot is, do you have a lot of flexibility with these? We'll check this out. Of course you do. But the overall goal is to make it look like an invisible track lane. And that is pretty much how you do that method. Okay, so the other one I was talking about, the newest craze that's happening as far as invisible weft hair extensions, this one's done a little bit differently. So what we do, as I mentioned earlier, is that we'll take the wefted hair extension and here, actually, just let me show you. All right, so this time I'm going to use my crochet hook. And these are the tiny, tiny beads that I have on there, so I'm going to use that. Now, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and push this through the middle of my wefted hair extension. So bear with me a little bit because I have to really finagle it on through. All right. Okay, so now I have it through the middle of that weft, you can see. And if I'm going to position it right here, and this is getting closer to the crown of Baylene's head. It's Baylene today. So I'm going to grab a piece of hair and slide it on through. Also, I'm going to slide that hair through one of my beads that I have here. Again, I'm not sure if the video is showing you all these details, but we'll see. So as you can see, this piece of hair is coming through, just like that. And it went through the bead as well. I'm not sure if you can see that bead right there. Okay. Next, I come in with my pliers and I clamp that bead down. And I pull it close to your scalp or the person's scalp, and I clamp down. Real tight. Just like that. And I'll continue this all the way through the end of this weft. And I'm going to go ahead and do this now, and you can just kind of follow along if you can. I know my hands are going to be in the way, but it gives you an idea. But there you go. So this one, I just put 3 beads in. I could have gone in with 4 or 5. It really just depends on your hair and what's going on and what's going to be the best. But it's in there very tightly. And you can see when I part it, it doesn't have any thread seam or anything like that. If this was the same color as her hair, it would just seamlessly be covered by that. So these are very nice to put on the top of the head if a client wants hair extension in the crown area but maybe doesn't have a whole lot of coverage. If you see, this is what makes it invisible because you can't see any thread, it's not bulky, it lays very flat, and it gives the ultimate flexibility to pull it up Well, that's our video for today. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you're still confused or have some questions, drop a comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. If you are in the Costa del Sol area, in the Malaga area specifically, that is where our studio is located. Please come by and pay us a visit. If you'd like to have a consultation just to learn more about hair extensions, whether it's this method or something else, feel free to go to our website at installmyhairextensions.com. You can book an appointment for a consultation. They're free, and come sit with me. We can go through all the different methods and find out which one is best for you. Also too, if you want more information like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss out. I'll see you next time.